Sometimes in Destiny, there are pairings that are meant to be, both designed that way and canonically make sense together as well. The lore tab of Lumina mentions the Assemblers, and speaks of the Traveller. From beyond the emptiness, a gardener emerged, drawn from the pseudo-photons and impossible math. And the lore tab of the boots of the Assembler is titled The Manifestation of Pseudo-Photons and Impossible Math. Coincidence? I think not. Press your favourite lore channel to get a video on exactly how these are connected. There's a pairing on a pairing in this build video. Lumina, the boots of the Assembler, and the Crucible. That's right, I'm going to take these into PvP. Lumina got a buff at the release of the Witch Queen, bringing it in line with other 140 RPM hand cannons. It had its range increased from 44 to 59, a massive jump, and a base stability stat increased from 46 to 56. The gun now feels great in both PvE and PvP. It has excellent perks for both as well. Lumina's exotic perk, Noble Rounds, reads, kills with this weapon leave behind remnants. Absorbing a remnant converts your next hip-fired shot into an ally-seeking noble round and partially refills the magazine. And the perk, Blessing of the Sky, states that using a noble round on an ally heals them and grants both you and them a weapon damage bonus for a short duration. Heals and a damage buff. You beauty. Before we get into the nitty gritty numbers, if you like this video and want to see more, please leave me a like and subscribe. Dropping a comment down below really helps the video perform in YouTube's mysterious algorithm. So say hi. Let me know if you want any specific exotics or builds covering, and I'll see what I can do. Okay, so in PvE, the damage buff from Lumina is plus 35% for 10 seconds, so more than a Well of Radiance. In PvP, the damage buff is plus 15%. As this build is going to be PvP based, we'll focus on how these exotics work in the Crucible. Lumina is a 140 RPM adaptive hand cannon and does 70 damage to the head and 47 to the body. With the Blessing of the Sky buff, that's 81 to the head and 54 to the body. To get this buff going, you get a final blow with the gun and you'll see a floating circle of light spawn. 2 if you have the catalyst for Lumina. Walk near to these and you can have them float towards you and pick them up. Each remnant gives 1 noble round, which you can see along with your buffs. Now, whenever you hip fire Lumina, it won't shoot a bullet, but a seeking ball of light. Aim this at a friendly guardian, and both you and your ally will receive the buff Blessing of the Sky. Great in 6v6s when there's a lot of friends and enemies around. So what do the boots of the Assembler do? Standing in a rift creates noble seekers every 5 seconds. These are floating balls of light that when in a healing rift will find allies and heal them for about 75 HP. In an empowering rift, the seekers grant your ally a damage bonus of plus 15%, which is the same as the rift itself. And that's for 6 seconds. You'll spawn 1 to 5 noble seekers depending on your team size. For example, 5 in control, 2 in threes, and 1 if solo. Each time a noble seeker finds one of your allies not in your rift, the duration of your rift is extended by 5 seconds while you are standing in it, capped at 10 seconds. Here's some bonus Q&A. Do the seekers extend arc soul durations? No. What's the range on the seekers? As long as you're not in the rift, the seekers will find you up to approximately 25 meters away. Can the seekers target me? No, the seekers will not target you even if you step out of the rift. Will it work when standing in a Well of Radiance? Yes, the well will class as an empowering rift. The duration of the well does not extend though. Can it work with Phoenix Dive? No. Seekers only spawn when using a healing or empowering rift. Can I hijack another ally's rift and still spawn seekers? Yes you can. So what's the buff in PvE? Well, in PvE, the healing still heals for 75 HP in a healing rift, and it's a 35% damage buff from an empowering rift. Wait a minute, the boots of the assembler are not subclass specific. You can use this exotic as void or stasis if you wanted to, which means I can give a plus 35% damage buff to my entire team, better than a Well of Radiance, and then do super damage myself. Yeah, Lumina will give the same effect, you're right, but that takes up an exotic weapon slot, and there's a small setup requirement of a kill beforehand, which, yeah, it's easy enough, and it also requires good timing and practice to keep that uptime going. So why would you not just use the boots of the assembler for all boss damage? Well, there are some drawbacks. Using the boots would require your teammate to not stand in your rift or Well of Radiance to get the buff, so you wouldn't be able to share any healing. You have to be separate from your team, so in boss encounters where you and the team are huddled together, you all would be in the same empowering rift, so you'd only get a plus 20% damage buff. Nobody would get the 35%. Using the boots means you can't run lunafactions to help your team's reload speed and or range. So yeah, it is an S tier option for boss damage in specific situations. The Deepstone Crypt raid is actually a good example of how this strategy can work, as there is space on all encounters with a damage phase to stand separated from each other, and the damage from adds is tankable. This would be even more so if you had a hunter running Renewal Grass for some damage resist, or a Void Titan providing overshields, or another Warlock running Boots of the Assembler but with a healing rift. I'm going to experiment with the clan, and I'm hopeful we're going to find some really cool fun strats to maximise damage. Right, back to PvP. We said before that Lumina and these boots are meant to be used together. The boots of the assembler give plus 30 aerial effectiveness to Lumina. Shockingly enough, that isn't the best interaction between the two. Along with creating Noble Seekers, casting a rift while using both the boots of the assembler and Lumina will create remnants for free. No need for a kill with Lumina to get noble rounds, just cast your rift. After casting your rift and spawning Noble Seekers to buff or heal your allies, remnants will spawn in the rift after a few seconds or when Seekers fail to find an ally. Once you've got yourself a noble round, hit fire towards a teammate and you'll both have a plus 15% damage buff for 10 seconds, pushing your optimal TTK to 2 precisions and 1 body shot. This makes gameplay so much more forgiving as you don't need to hit as many headshots, and on top of that, your teammates are all getting buffed too. You're everybody's friend and the match is a win. I like to lean into the support role with this build, so I still run solo Warlock with the boots. This is also optimal in my opinion, as buffing teammates with Radiant or Restoration will give you ability energy when using the fragment Ember of Benevolence. When used with the Touch of Flame aspect, your healing grenades give both you and your teammates ×2 restoration for 6 seconds. ×2 restoration is the same level as healing as pre-nerf Loreley's. I don't know why I'm not using this more often. So we're going to be getting more uptime on the rifts, more remnants, and more buffs for everyone. I prefer running a healing rift, as I can get my damage boost from Lumina, and I think the benefits from healing your teammates passively with the boots of the assembler is better than a short damage boost. You can pair Lumina with any energy weapon of your fancy, shotty, fusion, sniper, anything to either cover the ranges Lumina can't, or help when Lumina isn't buffed. I personally used a Waveframe grenade launcher and quick swapping to Lumina. This means that a kill using my special to prime, or using just my primary ammo, will spawn remnants to top up my noble rounds. On top of that, my grenade launcher of choice is the Explosive Personality from the Season of the Chosen. This gun is craftable with enhanced autoloading and enhanced disruption break. Using a disruption break weapon to break a guardian's shield will debuff them, increasing your kinetic damage to them by 50% for 5 seconds. This stacks with other buffs and works if you can quick swap to a kinetic straight after firing but before the wave hits. There's a tiny delay on disruption break, be that a bug or a connection thing, so sometimes your damage will be unbuffed. The combo by itself means that unbuffed, you can tag a Guardian with a waveframe grenade launcher and then clean up with just a body shot. That's 130 damage for the wave and 70 damage from the body shot, which will kill any Guardian with 9 resilience or lower. Add in any damage buff and the body shot will get the kill on any Guardian. If you hit a headshot though, you'll hit a whopping 105 damage unbuffed. Buffed with the blessing of the sky, a precision shot will deal a staggering 121 damage, which is overkill as they are usually damaged from the grenade launcher anyway. However, if your enemy decides to heal with a grenade or with worm husk, then you'll still hit 105 to the head for a few seconds after. So if they repeat with confidence, you'll still easily win the fight. This build does just keep on giving though. There's more. While using Celestial Fire and a waveframe grenade launcher, you can one-shot a Guardian by using both straight after one another. Waveframes are very forgiving in terms of aim, as the area of effect damage will clip Guardians right at the edge of the animation, sometimes even round corners. And then add on Celestial Fire's tracking, the combo becomes a point, click, delete. I find waveframes great fun and can be used at ranges longer than you think. And also, not even with hand cannons or Lumina. Try it with pulse rifles or auto rifles. Play with the range and let me know what your favourite combination is in the comments. Become the damage dealing healer in Destiny 2 PvP with Lumina and the boots of the Assembler. Keep your team alive with rifts and healing grenades while simultaneously keeping an uptime on a 15% damage buff for all of you. This build teaches you to play with your team as you need them to buff yourself. By doing so, you end up playing together and winning matches. Give it a go and let me know what you think. You know me as Snorlax. I'll catch you later.